When I first heard about Shopify's free trial, it sounded like a dream. Set up your online store, sell products, and potentially make money, all without paying anything upfront. No credit card, no risk, just click and start. That's how it's advertised. And I'll admit, that's exactly what pulled me in. But here's what nobody tells you. The part that doesn't show up in the glossy ads or the 60-second promo videos. There's a side to the Shopify free trial that can either set you up for massive momentum or quietly trap you into wasting your shot before it even begins. And trust me, I learned that the hard way. When I signed up, I was excited. That clean dashboard, the drag and drop builder, the promise of creating something from nothing. It's addictive at first. I told myself I'd explore it a bit, mess around with a few themes, maybe check out the product pages. But what happened next is what happens to way too many people. I froze. Not because the platform was bad, but because it was too good. There was so much you could do, so many apps to install, so many customization options, that I spent the first few days just tinkering, changing fonts, switching themes, watching tutorials. I wasn't building a business. I was distracting myself with details. I thought I was preparing, but really, I was just stalling. And that's the first thing Shopify doesn't tell you. The free trial? It's ticking from the second you click Start. You might think you're getting a full window to explore and take your time, but in reality, most people burn through those early days without even launching a product. Not because they're lazy, but because they don't realize how easy it is to get lost in setup mode. You think you're being productive, but the clock doesn't care. It keeps counting down. By the time I actually got serious about setting up my products and connecting payment options, I was already halfway through my trial. And that's when the pressure hit. Suddenly, I wasn't testing calmly. I was rushing to get something live, rushing to make it work, rushing to not waste the trial I had just wasted. And the worst part? I wasn't alone. I've since talked to so many people who had the same experience. They signed up for the free trial with big dreams, only to run out of time before they even launched. Then came the panic. Should I pay? Am I ready? Is this store even good enough? Here's the second thing Shopify doesn't tell you. They're counting on that hesitation. That's not a conspiracy theory. It's smart business. When the trial ends, you're sitting there with a half-built store, emotional investment, and no momentum. You're frustrated. You've already put in hours. So most people pay, not because they're confident, but because they're afraid to start over. And that's where the trap really starts to show. Because now, you're no longer experimenting freely. Now you're on the clock, and you're paying for it. So what should you do instead? I'll tell you what I wish I had known. The free trial is a window of opportunity, but only if you treat it like one. Don't wait until after you sign up to start thinking about your niche or your product. Don't click that Start Free Trial button just to look around. Prep beforehand. Have a plan. Know what you want to build. Even if it's messy, even if it's not perfect. Because perfection is a trap. The people who succeed with the free trial are the ones who launch during it, not the ones who tweak things endlessly until it expires. The biggest secret Shopify doesn't advertise is that your free trial isn't really free if you waste it. The currency you're spending is time, and it's the most valuable resource you have when you're starting out. So what did I do after I realized I'd blown most of my trial just spinning my wheels? I sat down and asked myself the hard question. What do I actually want from this? Not just in terms of products or profits, but freedom, flexibility, something I could call my own. And once I got clear on that, the decisions started making themselves. I didn't need to build the perfect store. I just needed to build a working one. I stripped everything back to basics. I picked one product, one supplier, one niche. And I launched. Was it ready? Not really, but it was live. And that changed everything. Because suddenly, instead of guessing what people might like, I was actually seeing how real people responded. What they clicked, what they ignored, where they dropped off. And I learned more in 48 hours than I did in the entire first week of my trial. That's the turning point most people never get to, because they never launch. They tinker, they hesitate, they tweak, and then their trial expires before they even give themselves a chance to learn. Shopify doesn't warn you about that. They let you believe it's fine to take your time. And yeah, you can. But the trial is designed to feel like a playground, when in reality, it's a pressure cooker if you don't go in with the right mindset. So here's what I want you to take from all of this, because I wish someone had told me this. You have to treat your Shopify free trial like it's a runway, not a vacation. The moment you hit start, the plane is rolling. You can either sit in the cockpit and stall, or you can hit the throttle and take off. But either way, the runway ends. That was the biggest shift for me. I stopped trying to make the store perfect and started trying to make it real. I picked a theme that looked clean enough. I focused on just one core product. I launched even though it wasn't polished. And I kept telling myself, done is better than perfect. Because the truth is, nobody remembers your first version. They remember what you become. And the only way to get there is to start messy and learn fast. Another thing Shopify doesn't talk about enough is what happens after the trial ends. Once you're paying, there's suddenly this pressure to justify every decision. Every app, every change, every dollar, it all feels heavier. And that weight can crush your creativity. You go from building with freedom to building out of fear. Fear of doing something wrong. Fear of losing money. Fear of failing in public. But if you use your free trial right, if you treat it like a live test, you can gain something far more valuable than a polished homepage. You gain data. You gain confidence. You gain experience. And maybe, just maybe, your first few sales. That's when it becomes real. And once you've made even one sale, just one, from something you built with your own hands and ideas, the entire way you see yourself starts to shift. You stop asking, can I do this? And you start asking, how far can I take this? That's the shift Shopify doesn't advertise. The shift from consumer to creator, from someone watching from the sidelines to someone who's actually in the game. And that shift is worth everything. So if you've been thinking about starting a store, stop hesitating. Get your plan together first. Know what you want to sell. Know who your audience is. And when you're ready, then start the free trial. Don't waste it. Use it like your future depends on it. Because in a way, it kind of does.